The 2018 midterm elections have come and gone, and voters have taken advantage of the early voting system in Williamson County. Early voting started on October 17th here at the Brentwood Library.
Well, I went and early voted, number one, to beat the crowds, and also to just get it over with.
Williamson County showed up in record numbers throughout early voting, as 74,500 residents went to the polls early.
It wasn't overly crowded, but I was surprised that there was a bit of a line when I got there for it being early voting.
Williamson County's early voting turnout was highest in the state, up 182% from 2014's midterms. Williamson County is clearly ahead of the pace in this year's midterm elections. Harper Thompson, WBHS 9 News.
Behind me is the Brentwood High STEM building, which has been under construction for over a year now.
Brentwood High's newest addition has been slowly rising in what was once the junior parking lot. The STEM building was built to alleviate school crowding as well as to help improve the already impressive STEM program.
We hope it's going to be ready in February, at the very latest, probably the 1st of April. And so it seems to be, the construction seems to be moving on. As long as the weather cooperates, hopefully we'll be in by February.
The STEM building would be shared between Brentwood High and Brentwood Middle, with roughly 17 classes per school taking place in the building.
So the building has 34 classrooms and labs. We're going to have Brentwood High teachers there and Brentwood Middle teachers both there. Right now, the building is going to be split down the middle, where the Brentwood Middle would be on the western half, the side closest to Brentwood Middle, and the Brentwood High teachers and classrooms would be on the eastern half, the side closest to Brentwood High.
As one can see, the new Brentwood High STEM building will be ready around February, and it shall set an example for all Williamson County schools to follow. Ethan Ballard, WBHS 9.
I'm here at the newly improved Chick-Fil-A in Brentwood, Tennessee that just reopened November 1st.
On September 14th, Chick-fil-A closed for renovation. Many were sad that the restaurant was closing, but we're glad to see improvements.
I think that we got a remodel because organization was not good, and there was crazy lines, and it was just so busy all the time, and I think we needed a little bit more room for all of that.
Improvements were made on the seating area, the kitchen was expanded, the counter space got wider, and the drive-thru expanded in a modern way.
I like that the kitchen is a lot bigger. It's still not quite fully organized yet. We're working on it, but I think the kitchen is definitely a lot bigger. We have a lot more room in front counter and as well as the kitchen. Office is a little bit smaller, but overall I think it was a good improvement.
Improvements for staff and, more importantly, customers. Macy Grubbs, WBHS 9.
Jennifer Preventure is the educational director at John Allen Salon, a hairstylist and the Tennessee ambassador for Back to You, a company that helps people with medically induced hair loss.
Back to You is a company that does a couple different things. The mission of the company is to ease our clients' suffering by providing them alternative hair and solutions to medically induced hair loss, and by doing that in a salon environment so that they always feel like a guest and a client and not a patient.
Back to You helps people with hair loss due to alopecia, chemotherapy, naturally thinning hair, and other circumstances by providing them a prosthetic hairpiece specially fit for their needs that keeps them looking and feeling like themselves.
I had a situation a couple years ago where my father was going through cancer, and he asked me to shave his head while he was in the hospital. I also had 3 other people in my life, 2 of my best friends and a client that were experiencing breast cancer, and all of these people asked me how I could help them with their hair loss, and I realized that I didn't have an answer to that, and it bothered me.
Jennifer Preventure plays a significant role in Back to You by helping those in similar circumstances that affected people close to her. Jasmine Jordan Lake, WBHS 9 News.
Today we're at the Brentwood Library for Election Day. This is a very popular place for people to come to vote in Williamson County. The Brentwood Library has hosted voting for years. Voters say it's especially important to cast your ballot during the midterm election.
I think it's always important to exercise your right to vote because there's so many people that went on before us, ancestors, that fought for our rights. So it's very important to exercise your right to vote.
One of the most popular races is for Senate. It has gotten competitive for the last few months, as many are wondering whether Republican Marsha Blackburn or Democrat Phil Bredesen will come out on top.
I think the race for Senate is so close that it's going to be really interesting to see, who winds up on top. As far as predictions are concerned, I think it's a 50-50. It's going to be a toss-up.
Since a record number of Williamson County residents voted early, the lines weren't nearly as long on Election Day at the Brentwood Library. Nathan Zonrich, WBHS 9 News.
The entire Brentwood High student body got a crash course in the dangers of distracted driving. DECA sponsored the Be in the Zone, Get Off Your Phone program last month.
My name is Melissa Bayshore, and it's spelled Bashore. Well, DECA organized the crash because we know there's an epidemic among teen drivers that are texting while driving, and a lot of accidents are happening and deaths are happening because of distracted driving.
The crash raised awareness by showing what happens to people who drive distracted and by including the story of someone involved in a fatal crash because he was distracted. The police department, fire department, and Williamson County EMS helped by providing the vehicles necessary for the mock crash.
Yes, it's to raise awareness among teenagers about being distracted while driving, especially on their phones. The people that were involved were DECA here at school, me, myself, the teacher, Miss Bayshore, and Miss Neese, the other marketing teacher. We have a core students here that are leading the whole awareness and Be in the Zone campaign. And we have been working with Brentwood Fire Department, Brentwood Police Department, Williamson County EMS, and Vanderbilt, Monroe Carl Junior Children's Hospital, that they sponsor this Be in the Zone campaign every year. We started at the end of September. We actually got a late start, but we started in September, and because of the fire department in Brentwood, they do such an amazing job, they were able to do it within about a month time span.
Ryder Bulrup, WBHS 9 News.
I'm here at the BHS TV and film room, where the current teacher, Ronnie Adcock, will be leaving for around a month due to personal reasons. Ronnie Adcock has been working here at BHS for 11 years, and before that he worked in TV news for 25 years. He expects his students to remain professional while he's gone.
Yeah, I think they'll work. I mean, the guys and ladies in these classes are mature. They understand that there's a job to be done, and I think that they'll do it while I'm gone. I have all hope and confidence that they will. I'm having knee replacement surgery, so I'm going to be out for a total of 3 school weeks, 4 including Thanksgiving. I'll be back on December 10th, hopefully, if all goes well.
Former Fox 17 news anchor Laura Faber and BHS art teacher Barbara Bullard will sub for Mr. Adcock.
Yes, one of them is Miss Bullard. She's taught at Brentwood for over 15 years. The other is Miss Faber. Miss Faber is a former news anchor I worked with at Fox 17. She also taught for 4.5 years at Hillwood as well as Ravenwood High School, taught the TV and film program, so she'll know exactly what to do.
The next month for TV and film students will definitely be an interesting one. Keaton Hardwick, WBHS 9.
I'm here at the Brentwood Chick-Fil-A on Franklin Road, where it's just been remodeled for 6 weeks. This Chick-fil-A just received many new updates, including more kitchen space, new appliances, an outdoor canopy, and an interesting twist on how they hand out food. Here's manager Bo Parker with more.
The way the drive-thru is set up, we now have canopies, and that will allow us to be outside for longer periods of time. In the winter, in the colder months, we have heaters under the canopies. For the summer, obviously we'll have shade from the sun, but we also have fans, so that'll keep us cool outside. And in the drive-thru, instead of a window, we are the first store that has a door that opens, the full door, and so we can easily, step out, run orders to cars.
Even though there was a loss of sales during renovation, Chick-fil-A believes the improvements will dramatically increase sales.
Last year, we did over $8 million in sales, and we were tracking for over $9 million this year. We probably lost somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000 being shut down.
Now you know more about the remodeling that occurred at your local Chick-fil-A. Ashley Woodrick, WBHS 9 News.
It's October of 2017. Construction workers have been working on Brentwood High's new 3-story STEM building, which will not be used for just high school classes.
Well, it's a STEM building for both Brentwood Middle School and Brentwood High School. So in Brentwood Middle School, I think they're planning on some of their 8th grade science and math classes using the STEM building. And for us, I think it'll mostly be freshmen who will be using that. Maybe some of our freshman science classes, freshman math classes. We may even have computer science class there.
The $9 million building will include 64,000 square feet consisting of 35 classrooms, 4 labs, and 1 multi-purpose room.
We expect that the STEM building will be ready in February. I don't think that we'll fully occupy it, this coming spring, but we'll definitely begin to migrate over, and some students and teachers will begin to use it probably later on in the spring. We hope that it's ready in February.
School student capacity will increase from 1,600, which has been over for years, to 2,000 students. Devin Prasad, WBHS 9 News.
I'm here at the Brentwood football field, where the Bruins beat the Independence Eagles 27-24 in double overtime on Friday night. This Friday, they'll be playing their rivals, the Ravenwood Raptors. Coach Crawford has more.
Well, we played really, really well in the first half, leading 17-7, because we've only had to lead 4 times in 12 games at halftime. So I think when we came back out in the second half, we matched them there early. Then we had the turnover. Gave them a short field, but we were able to hold them to a field goal. Not converting the 2 4th downs that we went for really could have iced the game for us, but instead it kind of gave Independence life.
Brentwood stopped Independence by recovering a fumble in overtime to stop their drive. They've been preparing to play Ravenwood ever since.
Well, I think when you look at us, you look at what we've done the last several weeks and compared to what they've done. Obviously, they're a healthier football team than us. They had an open date, then they played Ravenwood, then they had the playoffs where they got the forfeit, and then they played, obviously, last week's Cane Ridge. They played 2 games in 4 weeks, where we played 4 games in 4 weeks. So,
Bill King, WBHS 9 News.
I am right now right outside of the Brentwood Safety Center, which is one of the many polling places this election day. A record 2.3 million people voted in the midterm elections in Tennessee. More than 100,000 of them are from Williamson County. That's almost half of the registered voters.
I felt today, with the conditions of our nation, that voting, I felt like I was voting for the first time. I remember the first time I voted, how it felt. And it's like, I'm getting to do something meaningful.
Many people voted early, so don't expect the lines to be too big today.
I've been part of elections in grade school, high school, in which 1 vote made a difference. And there have been state votes, national votes, in which 1 vote actually made a difference.
Polls close at 7 today. Make sure to come out and make a difference. Mark McCall, WBHS 9 News.
Brentwood can now eat more chicken. The Chick-Fil-A on Franklin Road, closed for 2 months for renovation, is now open. There were renovations inside and outside the restaurant.
Originally, the store was built to hold about half the capacity that we were doing before the renovation. We expanded the store out back 15 feet, got a new covering in the drive-thru, and did some system upgrades on the front counter and in the drive-thru.
The parking lot in front of the store and to the side were also changed.
We took out some of the parking spaces in the back in order to expand the store. We made the parking spots over next to the drive-thru parallel parking spots. And then we changed the format of the parking lot out in front of the store near the playground.
A bigger restaurant means a bigger staff. Chick-fil-A is also now hiring.
So if someone wanted to work here, the youngest that they would be is 14 years old, and even then, it would be very restricted hours.
If you'd like to apply, you can ask for an application at the front counter.
Luke Ellinger, WBHS 9 News.
The Brentwood High School Cookie Store, run by Miss Ashcraft, is a fun way for special ed students to obtain real-life skills.
Cookie Store is actually a classroom, and we operate 2 periods a day baking cookies, and we do this so that our students can gain some work skills. So this is their introduction to learning how to work in a supervised environment.
Miss Ashcraft started the cookie store because she wanted to make a difference in students' lives.
Well, we started this about, I think, around 15 years ago. I'm not exactly sure, but I wanted to start something on campus in which my students could gain some work experiences, because I came from another state, and in that state there were lots more opportunities within the school building itself for my students to work, and so here it was a little more difficult. So this was just the concept that I came up with, and I think it's been great because...
Ethan Pastizzi, WBHS 9 News.
On Friday, November 5th, all sophomores were required to go to the BPAC to attend a presentation on safe driving by Nissan. The presentation involved interactive games that got the students involved, but also teach them about safe driving. And at the end, Think Fast was the highlight, as children were going up to play a game show based on the safe driving questions they learned. They seemed like they learned a lot.
Who's going to win these gift cards? All right, here comes your first question.
We interviewed the winner of the Think Fast competition, along with other students that attended.
I had a great time learning new things about distracted driving, and it was overall just a fun thing to do.
What did you do during the show?
We answered questions. There were questions that popped up on the board and clicked it.
Did you win?
Yes, I did win.
Good job. What'd you win, Malachi?
I won $1.
The presentation was about texting and driving and learning what not to do and how to prevent that. So it did help a lot with all of us and learning to be safe.
It looks like Think Fast has had another fun and successful year at Brentwood High. Cam Reedy, WBHS 9.